I'm tired of problematic books. Hey guys, what is up? My name is Megan. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Hope you guys are doing well. Today I'm starting a very exciting series on my channel, which is a series of vlogs. This will be episode 1, where I read romance novels of different genres with different authors, different styles of publishing, and discuss them with you guys. I think if you've been following my channel for a while, which thank you if you have, I've been making videos since 2016, and my reading taste have very much changed in the past few years. You can see by my shelf that a lot of what I used to read was by contemporary, and I do still read contemporaries, but I am now 23, so connecting to a 16-year-old in high school is a little bit more difficult at times, and I think that because of it, I might not be enjoying YA as much as I used to. Therefore, my reading taste has kind of shifted towards new adult and adult books, specifically in the romance genre, because it is very similar to YA contemporaries. It's just the age of the character and the maturity content that might change. So for this series, I will be discussing indie published novels, different subgenres in the romance, like fantasy romances, paranormal romances, and just highlighting different tropes like enemies to lovers, all that kind of stuff, different authors. I just have a lot of different ideas. I have a huge stack of books that I've been collecting, and so I thought it would be fun to showcase them this way. This vlog will be indie romances. So indie romances, if you are not familiar with the term, are basically romances that are not traditionally published, so that the author is not working with a publishing house, and some of them don't even have like literary agents. It's just them publishing books. Oftentimes you can find them on Amazon, which is one of the only valid reasons Amazon is still effective in a way, because you won't find them at like Barnes and Nobles or Chapters or these kinds of websites, so it's the only advantage Amazon does have. For this one, I will be reading hopefully at least 3 books. This is going to span a week-long duration, I guess. That's what I'm hoping for. I only have the first book picked out, and then once I've read that one, we can kind of pick and choose from my pile of books. But the first one I'm going to read for the series is a classic, and that is The Deal by L. Kennedy, which is the first book in a series called the Off-Campus series. These are hockey romances, and I feel like this is a staple if anybody has read indie romances. I feel like this is a go-to. This is more of a new adult than an adult romance. I think it has to do with like a hockey team at a collegiate level, and it follows both a female and a male perspective. This is the story of Hannah and Garrett, and basically Hannah is very talented in school and Garrett is part of the hockey team. I believe Garrett's GPA is kind of plummeting, and so he might not be able to stay on the hockey team if his grades keep going down, so he has a deal with Hannah where she helps him increase his GPA, and in return I believe that they pretend to fake date or something because she's trying to get the attention of another boy. I think they hook up, and then Garrett tries to convince Hannah that she should actually be dating him, something of the sorts. This book is around 300 pages long and everybody loves it. I only own the first book in this series because I wanted to see how I feel about it, so this is going to be a test to see if this one stands up to all the romance booktubers hype, and then we can pick another one. So I just wanted to introduce the vlog, talk about the first book I'm reading, and then we can cue the vlog footage. Okay, first update of me reading The Deal. I am now 7 chapters in. I think it's like 60 pages in. I'm really enjoying it. I would describe this book as fun, which is exactly what I want my romances to be. It's a little bit angsty without there being any romantic connection as of now. Basically, after the 60-page mark, the deal has been struck between the 2 main characters. I really like that it's a double POV as well. I think it really adds to the story, and I like where this is going, and both of the characters' personalities, I think they are very different, yet there is a way to have a connection that is also realistic, because basically what you discover in the first 60 pages is that one of their main characters well, Hannah is in a music major, and she basically has this ethics class with Garrett, who is the boy main character. And so it really starts because this ethics teacher that usually gives the class, usually gives out A's to everybody, he was like super easy, but he actually died of a heart attack. And so this new teacher is kind of a bitch, and Hannah actually aced the midterm, but Garrett failed, and so they kind of have a run-in where he discovers that she actually aced it. They never talked before, and he had been trying to convince her ever since to help tutor him, and she's been refusing because she doesn't really like the type of jock that he is, and he sleeps around with everyone, and she's kind of annoyed at that kind of person. But she also has a crush on this new boy who's a football player, and Garrett actually knows him, like they go to the same parties and everything, and he figures out that the way to get Hannah to tutor him is actually to help Hannah be more of interest to this boy she's kind of into. And so they end up striking up a deal of her tutoring him until that midterm exam, and they pretending to be together for one party, and I guess it's going to obviously be more than that eventually, but that's kind of what it is as of now. I really like the writing style. Both characters are very distinct, and they have their own voices. They don't all blend together. I'm really liking the side characters. Also, I've never heard this before, but there is trigger warning for a sexual assault that has happened in the past. It's not something you see, nor is it something that's really discussed, but it happened to our main female character, and so she's very reluctant to go into the party crowd and do all these things because she was actually raped at a party, which I think the discussion of it was really interesting, and also the author, I feel like, dealt with it in a proper way. Our main character has went to therapy, and she's kind of learned to not make herself feel guilty for it, and like kind of acknowledge the fact that none of it is on her. It was never her fault, and all the blame is to be on the abuser, and she's a survivor and not a victim, and all these kinds of things, which I found to be very interesting. I'm a social work student, and I personally have seen this, and we discuss how to work with clients who have gone through this. I've gone through not to the full extent of rape, but I've had some stuff happen in my past as well, which I think helps me realize if these situations in books are real or not, and I definitely praise Elle Kennedy for that discussion in this book. And our main character, Hannah's best friend, or one of her good friends who she's roommates with, actually accompanies Hannah to parties sometimes, and she will not drink, and she keeps an eye out for Hannah, and she's just a very good friend when it comes to that dilemma and just how Hannah feels, and she's very accepting of her feelings. So it's just, overall, it's a great book as of now. I'm really enjoying my time, and it's such a a quick read as well. So yes, I can't wait to see where this goes. I hope it takes a few twists and turns that makes it so it's not super predictable, but yeah, I'm enjoying myself. Hello friends! It is Tuesday, and I'm here to update you guys because I actually finished The Deal by Elle Kennedy in one sitting yesterday. I meant to update you guys maybe at the halfway point and then at the end, but this was so bingeable and I ended up reading it all in a sitting, so I'm very sorry. I did update you guys at the 60-page mark at least, but I did write some notes down as I was reading this, and I thought I would sit down and discuss my overall thoughts with you guys. I do want to start by saying that I'm giving this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. It's not on Goodreads yet because I want to keep at least my ratings a surprise for you guys, but yeah, that's what I ended up rating it. The plot doesn't really change from what I mentioned at the 60-page mark, in the sense that at the 60-page mark they had struck a deal where Garrett would get tutored by Hannah in exchange to fake date Hannah for a night in order to get the guy she was into to kind of notice her, and that's where our book really starts off. And then they get to know each other through the tutoring sessions, and they hang out together more as friends, and then obviously it turns into more of a relationship where there are some more explicit things, obviously this is new adult, so if this is something that is not in your comfort zone, or something you rather be Fade to Black, this is not Fade to Black, just letting you guys know. But there's a few things I want to touch on. First is the respect of for the trauma of our main character Hannah, as well as consent. In a part of this book, our main characters go to a party and Hannah gets really drunk and she tries to, you know, kiss our main character. I don't think that's a spoiler because I don't want this to be spoilery. And our main character, Garrett, is like, you know what, you're drunk, we're not gonna do this, I'm not gonna force myself on you, and you're not sober, so you can't consent, so we're not gonna do this. And the fact that it was on page and clear that when our main character wasn't in a headspace to commit to, you know, having sexual relations, that Garrett wasn't trying to be an asshole about it. And he also really respected her trauma in the sense that when she ends up telling him about what happened, he doesn't push her to talk about it more than she's comfortable, and they kind of take it slow, and he helps her kind of deal with it, not in a condescending way and not like, oh, I'm gonna fix all your problems, but he really respects what Hannah wants and helps her that way. And I really appreciated that in this, and I just thought it was really well done. I feel like the feelings both of our main characters had towards the situation were very real and understandable, and just I really liked how this was all portrayed in the book. I also want to add that because of what happened, obviously Hannah had a lot of legal fees and legal things to go through, and that really affected her parents, and her parents now have a lot of debt, and Hannah does feel a responsibility for that, and I feel like it's very well tackled in this book as well. And her relationship with her parents is something I really enjoyed in this, because I feel like in a lot of new adults, the parents aren't there, when in reality, like, I'm 23 and I still talk to my parents basically every day. And I really loved the relationship Hannah had with her parents and how well she got along with them, and I really liked that they were kind of like an important thing to Hannah. They're part of her life, they are the structure of her life, and she really loves her parents. So that was great, and I liked that we got to hear of the aftermath of how the trial went down and the effects it had in the long term, not just the short term for Hannah and her family. Similarly, Hannah has discussions with Garrett as well as her parents, you know, that the legal system isn't at its best because a lot of people get away with doing things that they shouldn't, not just in regards to sexual abuse, but, you know, a lot of different things. And there's discussion in here, and I really love when Hannah says, like, the best revenge you can get is living a happy life, and her trying to get over her trauma and moving on and kind of accepting what has happened to her without, you know, she's never going to say it was okay or she's 100%, but kind of moving on with what has happened to her and kind of making a new life for herself and not always being angry and sad. And it does take years for people to get over that, and it happened years ago for Hannah, and she's went through a lot of therapy, and I just think all the coping mechanisms and the blocks that were put into place in regards to that were really well done. Also, another trigger warning in this book for domestic abuse, and that is on Garrett's side with his father and what happened to his mother and all that kind of stuff. It does come into play in the book as well, with Garrett's father at one point where the act is like not committed strictly on page, but it is talked about again. And so trigger warning if that's something that you are a little bit more wary of, or it can make you emotional. Maybe if you're not ready to read that kind of book, just stay away from it. It does come into play more in the second part of the book, but I just wanted to mention that. And again, I think that the discussions surrounding this and what our main characters did about it were fabulous and also very realistic. Now, the reason I docked off a star, well, half a star for this, is because there's just one comment that was said a few times in this book that made me uncomfortable. Hannah does have a friend who looks like the boy in The Blind Side, the football movie where he's taken in by this white family. He's very huge and ends up playing football. Hannah has a friend of color who looks exactly like him, and everybody keeps saying, oh my god, I can't believe you're in a music major, you should be playing football. And it kind of rubbed me the wrong way, not because you're a person of color or that you're meant to play football or you want to play football, and it kind of annoyed me how many times it was repeated in this book, and I just think it wasn't like a funny thing or just something that should have been in this book, even though it was written like 5 years ago. I think it never should have been in here in the first place. So for that, I am docking off half a star, because I just think it, you know, it could have not been in the book. I could have just known he was a music major and that's the end of it, and he's Hannah's friend, and I should have been fine with that information. So yeah, didn't really love that part. That's the only thing that kind of I didn't like about this book. Some people also mentioned it's very tropey when I looked on Goodreads, and I do agree that there are a lot of tropes in here. I think for the most part they're fun and well done. The only thing I do want to mention is that it does really deal with the I'm not like other girls trope, so if it's something you don't really like, it's fine, but not in a negative way. When there's girl on girl hate and all of that. Our main character does call sorority girls like lightheaded or like not as smart, which is kind of annoying, because it's not because you're in a sorority that you're not smart. That's completely false. But she also has discussions about this with Garrett, where it's not like just the sorority girls that are trying to, you know, sleep around and stuff. It's also boys like Garrett and his hockey team, and she kind of confronts him about it and the way he treats girls, and I think that was interesting and refreshing. And there's also discussions about different body types, and because our main character is a little bit more curvy, and a lot of people do find her attractive, but she doesn't like bash on other body types, and there's kind of the discussion that it's not because you're not attracted to a certain body type that other people aren't, and all of these discussions I feel were very valuable and refreshing for a new adult. So that's what I had to say about this one. I really enjoyed it, and it was just so fun, and I definitely want to keep going with the series, so I might pick up The Mistake on Amazon one day and include it in one of these videos. Who knows? And so I did pick up the next book I want to read, and I kind of kept it in a theme where I went with new adult and college age, where it was kind of like, I guess this one is maybe a sports romance, yeah, as well, and that is The Guy on the Right by Kate Stewart. This again is another indie romance, and it is another start to a series. There's the guy on the right, the guy on the left, and the guy in the middle. This is another multi-perspective book. I think it's following Lainey and Theo, and in college. I think this one has to do more with football, and all of them are like roommates, and yeah, I can't wait to read this one. I've heard a lot of great things about it. I think it's almost the same, yeah, it's pretty much the same length as The Deal, so this is the next one we're going to be reading for this vlog. Hello friends, it's mid-afternoon now, and I started reading The Guy on the Right by Kate Stewart. I am now, I think, 50 pages in? 55 pages in, and I'm really enjoying it so far. This, again, as I mentioned, is a dual perspective narrative, and in the first few chapters we obviously get to meet both our characters. We start with Theo's perspective, and our characters almost have kind of a meet cute at a party, and I really enjoyed the way they got to introduce each other. It's kind of a mystery at first. They don't like introduce each other by name, they just sit together in the dark and discuss like things that have happened previously, like in the party and stuff like that, and then they meet again at a grocery store, and that's where it kind of really clicks. I think that the introduction of the side characters in this is also really good. We get to meet Theo's roommates and Lainey's family. It's just, I feel like everything is setting into place in a comfortable speed. The pacing is fun. I really enjoy both the main characters as of now, and I don't prefer one perspective to the other, so it's really enjoyable as of now. The writing style is great. This is kind of similar to Elle Kennedy, I find, but the writing is a little bit more mature-ish. But yeah, I'm really having a fun time with this as of now, and it reads very easily. It's the kind of book that you can breeze by, and it's just very enjoyable. I also went on Amazon earlier today, and I did end up picking up the second book in the Off-Campus series, which is called The Mistake, I think, and it's Logan's book. So yeah, it was on sale, so I took advantage of it, and there was only 3 left on Amazon. So I did that. It should come next week. So I'm very excited. I will be reading this until the HarperCollins fall preview event is happening on Zoom today, which is really exciting because usually I can't attend it because it's in Toronto and I'm in Montreal, so it's like a 6-hour drive. But because of COVID, it's all on Zoom, so I get to attend it virtually, so that's very exciting. We're going to talk about all the books that are coming out for HarperCollins Teens in these fall months, because if you guys didn't know, I'm part of the HarperCollins, it's like HarperCollins Frenzy, it's like the teen branch of HarperCollins. I'm part of their blogger group, so yes, very exciting. I shall now go back to reading. Hello, I'm back again because I do want to talk about something in here that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know what it is with these stupid new adult books and weird phrasing and comments and jokes, and it's not funny, you guys. This book was published in 2019, and at one point in the book we have our main characters at the bar and we're in Theodore's perspective, but then Lainey, our female main character, and her friend who's also at the bar have this inside joke, and they're like imitating Hitler, and that made me really, really, really uncomfortable because no matter what the joke is, World War II, Nazis, Hitler, it's never going to be funny, so I don't understand what's going on and why this was in the book. So definitely not something I could stand by or appreciate, and I really feel like I had to mention it. I hope it won't have a million problematic elements because then I'm not gonna love this book at all, but I did want to mention that there are jokes with Hitler, and it just very bad taste in my opinion. So I'm gonna keep reading and hope it gets better, but I just wanted to mention that, and it was weird. Like, I didn't need to be in there. Never needs to be in this kind of thing. Like, what? 2019, like, what the heck? I'm tired of problematic books. Hello. I'm waiting for the frenzy thing to start, so I thought I would update you guys again on my reading. I'm now 100 pages in, and I'm not loving this book. Unfortunately, I thought I would really like it, but I don't feel as captivated or involved as I did with The Deal. I like Theo's character, but I don't really love Lainey's character. She's a little bit too reckless and dangerous and judgmental, and I'm not vibing with her that much. I think she's kind of a little bit too stuck up, and I don't know, I'm not connecting with her character. Theo it's fine, but again, not one of my favorite male characters that I've read about. Given I'm just 100 pages in, I still have long ways to go, but yeah, it's fine so far. Kind of like a 3-star read for now, which is unfortunate because I was like, oh, if I really love this, then I can keep moving on with the series, but as of now, I might not pick up the rest. We shall see. Maybe it's going to get better. Maybe it's going to get worse. But that's just what I wanted to say. I think that some of this book is not as well written as I thought it would be. And just I feel like there might be more problematic elements coming into play a little bit later on in this book. Because just the way that the characters interact, like we had this scene where Theodore didn't really want to do something and he was kind of confused with what was happening, and then our main female character kind of laughs at him and calls him a pussy, and I don't know, it's not because like man is sensitive or he's not wanting to do weird stuff or is not comfortable with doing things when they're not explained to him. Like, he didn't know what was going on and he didn't really enjoy that, and then our other main character kind of laughs at him. I just don't like that vibe in characters. I think you should respect the comfort zone of other people, and it's one thing to motivate people to get out of their comfort zone, but it's another thing to laugh at them and call them a pussy. I just am not a fan of that. So yeah, there's 8 minutes left until the frenzy thing starts, so I'm gonna read a little bit more and see where it goes. I just hope I like it enough not to DNF it, and we shall see. Hello, it's Thursday. I need to shower, but I thought I'd update before I went in the shower. I didn't vlog at all yesterday, and that's because I felt really sick. I'm not really going to talk about this in the vlog because I just updated my weekly reading vlog talking about it, so if you want to hear more about that, then you could click on over there. When you're done this video, I'll put it in the cards and the description. But yeah, so yesterday was a no reading day. Nothing was basically done, so I had to play catch up today. It's now 2 p.m. and I didn't make any progress in the guy on the right, which I'm still not really loving. I'm still on page 162, which is almost halfway, so it's not that bad. I don't have too much to go. If I wasn't making this video, I probably would have DNF'd it, but I kind of want to see it through because the more I read, the more I can detect problematic elements, and I want to make a Goodreads review about this and kind of mention what is wrong with this book, because I've seen some people review it, but it still has like a 4.3 almost on Goodreads, I think. So I'm not really sure how I feel about that because there are a lot of problematic elements in this book and they're very bothersome to me. I'm not going to go too much in depth now because I look disgusting and I feel disgusting, but I've been taking notes on my phone, so I should finish this in the next few days and then hopefully read at least another book before this vlog goes out on Tuesday, which hopefully everything goes to plan. My weekly reading vlog should go up on Sunday and then this one on Tuesday. But yeah, I'm really not loving it as much as I thought I would, which is unfortunate because usually new adult college romances really are my jam, but this one is just problematic. And it's kind of funny because I was watching Chandler from Chandler Ainsley's video where it's like Goodreads readers also enjoyed, and then she picks books from like the recommendations on Goodreads based on books she has already loved, and she said she really enjoyed this one and she actually used this one to find another recommendation. And it was funny to me how I follow so many people who have such different reading tastes than me, and I mean it's totally fine, like you could still enjoy this book and all, but it was funny to me that she chose this as one of the books that she wanted to read based off something she really because she really enjoyed it. But then when I was watching the video, she was talking about another book that I actually had on my radar, and she didn't really like it, but she's like, if you're fans of like Christina Lauren, you're probably gonna like that, which is really my taste. So it's there that I kind of realized that I love watching her content because it's so creative, but our tastes really don't align. And that was, I don't know why it was so funny to me, maybe because I was reading this and had so many thoughts on it, and then she was talking about other books that I want to read that she's not liking. It's just, it happens, but she definitely has great content that I can't say that she does not. But if you guys really like romance content and you want more bookish people, I feel like Chandler is very well known, but there's also lovely like Laura, who I really love. She does have like a big following, like 60k followers, but I feel like if you're looking for romance recommendations, definitely check her out. I'll leave her in the description because I find a lot of the romance books I want to read based on her. She does have pretty defined taste in some things that I don't like, and more like dark romances or weird tropes or that kind of thing, but she does give good recommendations all around, so letting you guys know. But I also got a package, which I told you guys I ordered this and it was only supposed to come next week, but because this is romance themed and it has to do with the first book I read, I thought I'd open it with you guys. I'm not going to read it for this vlog because I don't want to read sequels, but maybe I'll read it in another one of these if you guys end up enjoying it. Oh, this is so pretty. Oh, this is a lot more thin than I thought it would be. And that is The Mistake by Elle Kennedy, which is the second book in the Off-Campus series. This is a lot smaller than the... I don't want to spoil myself, but there's around not even 300 pages, so this is a lot smaller than The Deal. And this one follows Logan, who is one of the boys we see that lives with our main character Garrett in the first book, so I'm really excited for it. I'm going to clean it up and all, but yeah, I really wanted this. I love the covers for this series, and there was only 3 of them left on Amazon, and sometimes books don't come back in stock for months afterwards, so I jumped on my chance because it was on sale. But that's all I have to say, and now I can finally go shower and eat. Hello! It's Friday. I'm here to discuss, because we have stuff to discuss. I finished The Guy on the Right by Kate Stewart, and I have notes. So let's go through them. Ultimately, I did finish reading this and enjoyed the second half much more than I did the first half. There's still problematic stuff in this book that cannot be forgotten, and I just think that for the most part I didn't love this book, so it's probably going to be like a 2.5 to a 2.75, no more than that. I do think the writing got better in the second half of the book. Still not the best writing style in my opinion. Not that I can write a great book, I will acknowledge that, but I just think that some of it was confusing and you didn't feel as much for the characters with the writing style the author used. I just wasn't the biggest fan, and I did still end up loving Theo a lot more than I did Eleni. And let me fix you guys, I feel like this is crooked. Much better. Oh, okay, so I don't really know what I said about this book. I know I mentioned all the problematic elements with the Hitler jokes. I don't know if I touched on the racism aspect of this book, and I was trying to look through the clips, but it got a little bit confusing, so I thought I would just mention it again because I feel like it's a very prominent thing in this book. And it all starts on page 116 when our main female character, Lainey, actually dresses up and pretends to be a black woman on Halloween, and I thought that was very poor taste and just inappropriate. And the way it was done in the book, like, I don't want to get into it because if you're still interested in reading this, that's totally up to you, but I just think that it was not appropriate at all. I don't think it should be put in books or done any way. I will mention, like, she didn't, like, blackface herself, but I still found it to be inappropriate, and it's kind of laughed about throughout the entire book, and she dresses up as the character, like, uses the same dress up for other things later in the book, and it just left a bad taste in my mouth. And our main character, Theo, actually says, like, don't you think it's not politically correct for you to dress up as a black woman? And our main character, Lainey, actually just shrugs it off, so I didn't like that. There's also the fact, and I don't know, maybe that's just a me thing, so I don't want to, like, bash on this book too hard, but there were a lot of things with alcohol and drugs that I was not comfortable with. Like, our main character lugs around this little thing where she puts alcohol, I don't remember what they're called, but those little things you could put, like, alcohol in and drink from, and she uses it as an icebreaker, and I am not a fan of that mentality whatsoever. Listen, I'm 23. I don't like to drink. I never got socially pressured to drink, and I get that that happens. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It's not realistic. A lot of people do get pressured to drink or just do a lot of things with the social pressure, and it's hard and it's annoying, and I understand that. What I'm saying, however, is just throwing that in a book and being like, oh, well, I need alcohol in order to reduce my shyness, and our main character never tries to overcome that. Like, she becomes dependent on alcohol to enter parties or large crowds. And listen, social anxiety, I know it, sis. But I just think that there's so many other ways that our main character could have coped with it, or at least used it at the beginning, but then as her character developed, maybe she could have changed her ways and found other ways to cope with her anxiety and her social anxiety. And I just think the way it was brought up by the author really rubbed me the wrong way, and I just never think it should be just, like, left out in the open, like, oh yeah, I use alcohol as a calming device, and everybody's like, oh, fine, it's fine, like, you're 22, good idea. I just think it could have been addressed. Like, it does happen in life, but and I'm not judging anyone who does that, because I understand, and we all have bad habits. You do you. I don't want to say anything, and I understand, but I just think the way it was placed in the book really didn't do it for me. And there's also a time where our two main characters actually eat gummy worms that have illegal stuff in it, depending on where you live. Apparently in Canada it's legal now, but it's not legal where they are, and they just take bad decisions as well. Like, our main female character doesn't realize how much of it they're eating, so they're not really informed, and she just like pressures Theo into taking it. And then he goes to school and she's like, oh, it's fine, like the buzz won't be that bad, and it turns out it is, but like you should never go to school under influence. And I just think that was stupid. And then our main character, Lainey, drives back to the school to get Theo because she realizes that they didn't take the right dose of the gummy bears. And I don't know, like, they did take an Uber back, and sometimes they're responsible, but sometimes they do things that I'm kind of like, it's borderline really stupid. So I'm like very confused about that, because sometimes they're like, oh, be careful, don't drink, don't take your keys, don't drive. And I appreciate that message, but then it's kind of contradicting itself on other things, so I'm not a fan of that. And it's also the use of drugs for a meltdown, because something happens in Theo's life, and then our main character Lainey's like, oh, take this. So again, not coping with your feelings in a proper way, and it's never addressed. It's just, they call it like a whoops moment. It's like a, oh well, like it happened and whatever, it was funny. But I just think that it's promoting bad habits. But this is all on me. Everybody has very differing opinions on this, and a lot of people in their teenage years or young adult years have used substances. I'm just not a fan of the concept and the idea for myself, and so it reflects on my overall enjoyment of this. There's also like, the consent in here is fine, but it's just, there's a part of this book that I don't know, I just didn't really like. And it's when our main character, one of our main characters, or yeah, both of them I think had alcohol, but one of them is more drunk. And in the book it says like, one of them says, oh my god, you're drunk, and then the person's like, so yeah, just take advantage of me. And I just didn't find that very appealing at all. I was just like, oh, that's weird to put that in a book. And also, I feel like I'm sounding like someone who's like over the top and very judgmental of everyone, and that's not the case. It's just my values, but like, I don't want to be like super condescending, and everybody's doing life their own way, and we all have our own beliefs and our own way of doing life, and I don't want you to think that I don't respect that. I do, but it's just, I don't like the way it was put in this book. So again, I don't want to sound like I'm judging anyone, but there's also like issues with safe sex that I'm not really going to get into, but it was in there as well. And like some weird possessiveness factors in this book. What I did like, however, and we will give this book some positives because it wasn't all crap, I think the pace of this book was really good in the second half. A lot of entertaining things happened, and I got to like our characters a little bit more than I did in the first half. By the end, like the end scene, like the last 50 pages of this book, I adored. I was really invested. I liked where it went. I liked the epilogue. I think that the big resolution after the third act breakup was really, really good, and that's where I got invested in this book. So for that, I do have to give it props. And also the steamy scenes. The steamy scenes in this book, I really enjoyed. I think the descriptions, the chemistry between the characters definitely could all be really felt, and it was really enjoyable. It wasn't uncomfortable to read, and I could definitely believe it. All of it was very believable when you took in consideration our characters' pasts, and I had a lot of fun with that aspect of it. And like the overall chemistry of the characters was very believable in my opinion. So there are some good like sides to this book, and I'm not saying don't read it. It's just some things that bug me as a person were in this, and so I think I don't like it as much, as well as like the racism aspects of it and some other problematic content. But it was good enough that I would pick up another book by this author, given that they don't write problematic shit in their books. But yes, overall, like a 2.75, it was fine. that's all I have to say about it. I also selected the last book I'm going to be reading for this vlog, and this vlog kind of has more than one theme, I'm realizing, so I kind of stayed that way with the third book. Basically, they're all indie published, they're all new adults, and they're all in college. So when I looked at my bookshelf, I do have a few of them that fit, but a lot of them I'm not sure if they're in college or not, so I went with a very obvious choice, and that is Rush by why can't I say anything? By Candy Steiner. This is the first in the Palm South University. There was recently a read-along that Jess from Peace Love Books hosted for the series. It's a 4-book series, I think, and it's all about like college, and it's told in episodes. Everybody says it reads kind of like a dramatic TV, like TV reality show. So this is what we're gonna read. Sorry, that was my dryer. And this one is almost the same length as the other ones. It's 329 pages, and it's told in like a bunch of different perspectives. I think this will be like addicting and fun. Probably not a life-changing read, but I've been very curious about this series. So yeah, and I also really love the cover of this one, like the color palette. It's just a lot of fun. I know Jess said that there are some comments in here that are a little bit racist-ish, I think, and she says that the rest of the series isn't like that, and Candy grows a lot as a writer, so we're going to keep that in mind once we read this. But this will be the final book I read for this vlog. We're doing good. It's Friday. I could probably read this in a day or two. What's not good is my actual weekly reading vlog, because I just finished one book for that as of now, but it's fine. I can remedy that this weekend. So yes, we're back for our first update with this book. I am 93 pages into Rush, so almost 100 pages, and look how cute my new bookmark is with this book. I love the color palettes, and everything just fits together. If you don't know what I'm talking about or want to know where these bookmarks are from, hit up my latest weekly reading vlog. I'll link it in the description, as I said. But I'm really liking this so far. It does kind of read like trashy reality TV, in the sense that it's a very typical collegiate plot where we follow a bunch of different characters, and one of them is rushing in a sorority. It's like her first year, she's a freshman in college, and then we follow other girls in her frat house, and we also follow girls who are in her sorority house, as well as boys who are in a frat house that are all connected together, and it's kind of like their lives and what they're up to. There's a lot of explicit content in here, as there should be in a context as such, because, you know, frat parties and sorority parties and people hooking up and underage drinking, but it's all what I expected from this book, and I think you shouldn't go into this book if you're not wanting that, because it literally says drama, lies, and sex, welcome to Palm South University. So I mean, like, you've been warned as a reader that that's what you're going in for, and I'm really enjoying myself. It reads super quickly. I just like sat down after filming my first clip to like read a few pages to see how I felt about it, and I was immediately hooked and read 93 pages in one sitting. So it's doing good things. The only complaint I have as of now is that because we're following so many characters, I think we have 4 perspectives as of now, and they're all like short little chapters of what's going on in their lives, and it's kind of like the plot still progresses. Like every chapter, well, every different perspective is like moving the plot. It's not like going back and forth or whatever. It's like all linear, and I appreciate that. But because we have so many characters, it's kind of confusing at first to figure out who's who, but then once a few things happens, it makes a little bit more sense. But I think we're still gonna get, we're getting even more perspective as the book moves around, and I'm not sure if we're always gonna get 4 different perspectives and like drop some and get some, but I think we're gonna end up with like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different perspectives, so I might get a little bit confused, but hopefully I don't, and I keep enjoying this, because as of now, this is definitely like a light, fluffy, fun read, which is exactly what I wanted out of it, so it's definitely fulfilling its purpose, and I'm really enjoying it. I was looking up the other books on Amazon afterwards, and there's actually 5 books. I think I said there were 4, and I really like the paperback, so I was like, oh, if I enjoy this, maybe in one of my other videos I'll make like a sequels to this where I read other companion novels in the series. The next physical paperback is $27. I didn't pay $27 for this, so I'm kind of confused. Hopefully the price fluctuates. I don't really know what's happening. If not, I'll read it on my Kindle. But yeah, really enjoying it so far. That's pretty much all I have to say. No big complaints on my part as of now. So I'm going to go actually read for my weekly reading vlog now, and maybe pick this up later this evening or tomorrow. We shall see what the day brings. But I'm really excited about all my reads right now, so it's refreshing, because this was kind of putting me in a reading slump, and the book I read this week for my normal weekly reading vlog also put me in a slump. So I'm happy books like this are taking me out of it. Hello, I'm here for a quick update because it's Monday. This video is supposed to go up tomorrow. I don't know if it will. If not, it'll be up on Thursday because I'm only 160 pages into Rush. I was doing really good. I read almost all of it in one sitting, and then I had to go to work and then realized that starting Friday evening my boyfriend was on vacation for a week. So on Saturday we hung out until he went with a friend, but I was so exhausted because I didn't sleep the night before that I just crashed super early. And yesterday we spent basically all day sitting in front of the TV watching The Ranch on Netflix. We binge watched it like no other. I'm loving it. I love that show. So we're still 160 pages in. I don't have much to say about this. It's really fun. It's exactly what I expected it to be, and I really enjoy the writing style. It does really feel like a trashy TV show, as I mentioned before. There are some things that are happening here that I'm not loving, in the sense that like some characters make bad choices, which is obvious that it was going to happen. So I have some favorite characters. My favorite character as of now is Erin, and I think I used to really love Skylar in this book, but she's been doing things that are, you know, kind of cheap, so I'm not sure she's my favorite. You know, I might dislike her a lot more than the other characters as of now, but overall I'm really enjoying this, and I just feel like it's a book that you don't have to dissect a lot. It's just, it is what it is. It's sold as something, and it definitely delivers, and we'll see how I feel about it at the end. I'll probably update you guys one more time, and then we can close out this vlog because I feel like it's going to be a very long one. Hello friends, it is still Tuesday. It's like 9 p.m. now, and I just finished Rush, and I think I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. Obviously it is a little bit problematic, but I expected it, and I had a lot of fun, and it really does end on a cliffhanger, so now I definitely want to read book 2 in the series. It was just so much fun, and exactly what the blurb says it is. I don't have much to say about it, so I'm gonna leave it at that. I think if you were interested in the series, it's really worth reading, even if it was written the first one in 2015. I still think it's really enjoyable, and I had a lot of fun. The characters I didn't really like at first actually did redeem themselves in the second part of the book, and now I like all the characters, so it's even more fun. But yeah, 4 out of 5 stars, definitely love it, and I'm planning on getting Kindle Unlimited for when I'm in school. Instead of like buying books, I can just borrow a bunch of books, and it's only like $10 a month. So all of them are on Kindle Unlimited, so let me know if you want a vlog where I read the 4 next books in the series. Let me know. But yes, just to quickly wrap up the 3 books I read. The one I liked the most was definitely The Deal by Elle Kennedy. I really think it's worth reading, and the one I would recommend the most in these 3. And then Rush, which was definitely a lot of fun, and wouldn't necessarily recommend this one, but again, if it sounds up your alley, maybe I'm just too critical of it, but just keep in mind that there are problematic elements in this one specifically. So yes, all of them were fun, but definitely this one is my favorite. So that's it for the video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what theme I should pick for round 2 of these videos, and I'll see you very soon with another video. Bye guys!